Salvation, everybody. Welcome to Supreme Clientele. We're on episode 26 here, January 23rd, 2024. We are joined, of course, by my brother Lynk, and we got our special guest tonight, E. Thank you for coming through and being with us tonight, bro. Thank you for making the time.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah. I can't wait to get into it tonight. We got a couple great new comics looking like they're about to be instant classics to talk about, and of course, like the classic some Marvel Knights era with the Inhumans, Black Panther, and of course Eve's favorite, the Daredevil, the Bendis and Maleev Daredevil. It's going to be a great show, man. I cannot wait to get into it. I thought first off, we start off with what we're watching. Oh, I'm sorry, started being a slide here, guys. What we're watching, where we talk about, shows, movies, whatever that we've been watching in the last week that, we want to recommend. I recommended this one to the fellas in the chat about a week or so ago. The Creator. You can find this one on Hulu. This is by Gareth Edwards, who did Rogue One. It's great sci-fi, guys. It's like Golden Child meets, like I told y'all, Golden Child meets District 9 meets Blade Runner. Like, so we have a situation where AI has kind of split the world in half between Western philosophies and Eastern philosophies. The Eastern half of the world is with AI. The AI nuked Los Angeles, I believe, in an attack on Western society and philosophy or whatever. And so Western philosophy and the government and the military is disavowedly against AI. And this ship that you see in the sky here is like their ultimate weapon that they've created. And it's just from the jump, like the opening scene is this like beachside assault. They're kind of coming up out of the water on the coast. It's great, and the ship is in the sky, and it's got these blue lights that like analyze, and just the way the sci-fi moves and looks throughout this movie is incredible. It's got a great cast. Here, hold on, I was going to try to get some of the AI. This is some of the AI here, but yeah. So in the East, they have the AI or the police. They're the armed forces. But there's also AI that have defected to fight in the rebel forces. It's a very cool back and forth. But the effects are fantastic. It goes a little long. It does go like 2.5, 3 hours. But basically, yeah, it comes to this mega weapon that the humans or the U.S. are trying to capture. Ends up being this child. I'm not spoiling anything here by telling you this. It ends up being this like inside of this child. So that's why I say it's like Golden Child meets, and it's District 9 because it's very divided. The world's very divided on, AI and, it's very black and white. John David Washington is spectacular as always. You've got Homeboy who's in like every movie. What is his name? Forgive me for not knowing his name. Up there on the top right. He's in everything.
And something.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, E. Thank you. Yeah. He's excellent in it as well. But like, yeah, so John David Washington is kind of like an undercover agent who ends up falling in love with an AI, and it gets complicated, but it's very well done. I highly recommend it. It was impressive to me, just as a random like sci-fi movie that looked cool that I thought I would check out. It was very impressive. I love the special effects. It was definitely a movie I would give a second watch. So if you guys get a chance, check out The Creator on Hulu. Monarch, he said he wanted to, or he was watching Monarch, not necessarily that he wanted to talk about it. Have you been enjoying it, Matt? I checked it out because of Matt Fraction. Have you? And I've loved it. I just finished the finale the other day.
Oh yeah. I bow at the altar of Fraction just like you guys do, and I mean, hearing you guys talk about it really made me want to dive into this. And my kid really, he's the one that like pushed me over the edge because he's loved the new Godzilla universe that they set up, right? So we've sat there and we watched all of them. And he didn't even know this existed. So we're 3 or 4 episodes in at this point, and it's so crazy because like I'm digging it for sure. Because right, it's it's not just the rampage kind of stuff. It's not just buildings falling down. It's the human drama with it. But my kid's sitting right next to me and he's loving every episode of it. I'm like, that's wild, man. That it's got to be good if it could pull in a 10-year-old and make it, enticing like that.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. That's a great point. Like it's got something for everyone, I feel like, and it's, I know it sounds it sounds corny, like it's the big monster, the big thing, and they bring the human story with it, but they really do such a great job of interweaving these families and these different peoples. It reminds me of like what was that movie, Crash, or like some of those movies in the early 2000s where it brought all those Babel, it brought all those strangers' lives together in random ways. I just
Yeah.
like all these people have had different interweaving narratives, and it like past and present has affected them all in different ways. It's been super dope. So
Yeah.
okay, Link, you got to check that one out, bro. If you haven't seen, are you on Apple TV at all?
Oh yeah, I've been a big champion of Apple TV since Severance. So like 2000
Oh, yeah.
2021, I've been I've actually, they're like one of the few streaming services I actively keep. Like the other ones I'll let expire once in a while, but Apple seems to stay.
Yeah, man, I've been blown away. Speaking of Apple, For All Mankind has been awesome. I recently finished that up, the season 4. Basically asking what if the space race never quit? What if Russia got to the moon first and we just turned it up to the volume up to 11 on the space program? And then it goes into we're on Mars by the 90s, and it follows, these characters, not just like the same characters, different characters, offsprings of characters and stuff like that through these different seasons. Each season moves forward by 10 to 15 years, so but you still keep these same characters. Joel Kinnaman, who played what's his name, Rick Flag in Suicide Squad, is in that, and he really has a starring role. I think that's him right there in the front, leading the group of women astronauts. But yeah, it brings guns to the moon. It brings the Cold War to the moon. Season 1 is great. If you just want to, just I recommend you give season 1 a shot and see if you like it or not, and then just go from there. But it's been incredibly addictive for me. And like Link said, yeah, Apple TV's been sterling since I got it. But
being that we're all of a certain age too, isn't it kind of wild to think that show and that storyline is alternative history? Because we all grew up with like NASA being a big thing, like this, not the space race necessarily, but like we heard about shuttles taking off, and we heard about visits to the moon. Like it was common ground, and I feel like in the last at least 20 to 30 years, that's a thing of the past now.
Yeah,
they have no funding at all.
They have these episodes of these story arcs where they capture these asteroids for all the precious metals and minerals and materials that they can mine off them to advance the human race. And it just makes you, I think it definitely makes you think, as like being born in 82 and growing up when the space race was kind of still alive, it definitely makes you feel the pangs of them kind of just abandoning it, like altogether, and it being taken up by all these private companies. And now it's only a rich man's game. It's just kind of sad. But yeah, For All Mankind, Apple TV. And then Reacher, of course, finished up season 2. This one was not as good as season 1 for me. And also Bro is definitely on steroids, and it's like kind of OD that we have to focus on that every episode. But he's a big man. He's a big, strong man, Alan Ritchson. But this one was good. I thought season 1 had better plot points and better, supporting cast. But regardless, Amazon Prime, that was one we're checking out. All my shows have ended now, so I kind of don't know what I'm going to watch. Yeah, that is what it is. Anyway, let me just say what up to the chat real quick before we get into our new books. First off, we got James Phelps. James, what up, bro? Thank you for coming through. Brother Joe in the house. Sal, what up? And we got, of course, Chill Out Man. Chill, what up, brother? Thank you for coming through. Always appreciate y'all coming through and supporting us. All right, kick it off, dude. I love this book so much. This was like one of my favorite books in recent memory, honestly. Avengers Twilight, Chip Zdarsky, Daniel Acuna on the interiors. These fucking bomb-ass Ross covers. This was such a great book. Imagining, our current Avengers in a future world, kind of powerless and and Left Behind. And it was powerful on so many levels, relevant on so many levels for a boomer like myself. Um, what did you think of this one in general, bro?
This book blew me away, man. Like it honestly, it didn't reach my pull list because I was like, like I'm kind of done with the big two doing minis. I'm really just sick of it. Nothing's gonna be relevant. It's not gonna be anything that's gonna be worthwhile. And man, was I wrong. I was so glad that I just made it a game time decision because yeah, it's I mean, everyone leveled up. You could tell that Zdarsky had a little bit something more to say that was going to be a little bit outside of continuity. But more than that, the art was so good, man. Like I said it in the chats in the back, man. Like Acuna, he stepped up his game, and he was good before, but this was something totally different, man.
Yeah, hell yeah, absolutely, well said. So let's get into it. Oh, a bunch of great. Well, let me shout out my boy Fable. Fable, we got some crouchy Frank Miller going on, bro.
The scoliosis variant.
On the scoliosis. Hey, hold on, let me see you. There we go. Yeah, man, the scoliosis variant. I had to cop it. I laughed to myself when I saw it in the store. I was like, I gotta pick this up. But we have some truly great variants. There's another, I think that's a Daniel Acuna foil variant on the left. I'm gonna forget everybody's. That's an Albuquerque, I think, on the left right there. That's a gorgeous looking one. I just love like the kind of painted style. Of course, Uncle Frank, and Scotty. Not the best Scotty, but all right. So we get into it. Old man Cap is waking up. House is like a museum. He's got a wife who's bringing him coffee in bed, and that is to try to dissuade him from remembering the anniversary of this tragic day, which we'll get into later. Just love and then we're walking through this vibrant, futuristic city. Look, the colors here are fucking insane. Like you said, he just off the bat, like Acuna is just taking the ball and fucking running with it, man. I love the character design straight off the bat. And I just love the look and the vibe of this. It's got this fun, like kind of like non-believable comic quality to it, but like I don't know. I don't know. I love the chick coming up and asking him for the selfie and how like that's like a wild thing to do. And him just kind of like trying to move through it. And then of course like Luke Cage coming up to him with the I don't know how to describe this. He's got this like body apparatus on that helps him walk. We'll get to him later. He has this flaked up skin, like my man Nick said, that kind of looks almost thing like from the Fantastic Four. But yeah, just starting off. E, how'd you feel about the futuristic look here that they established that Cap's moving through?
Yeah, there's a couple different variations of the future that you can go with, and this is definitely more in the vein of like the future from Back to the Future 2 than anything, right? It's bright, it's vibrant, it's in your face. Jaws is coming down, snatching you up, stuff like that. But yeah, it fits the artist that was assigned to the book so well. It's not dark and gritty. It's the illusion of happiness, right? I think he conveys that really, really well.
Oh yeah. Lynk, how you feeling about this so far, bro? I know you haven't like read this one, but just looking at it from the first couple pages.
I actually did check this one out.
My bad, dude. I didn't think you got
it. It was all right. I think it's like I was a little overhyped by everybody else. I'm not amazed by it. I thought it was solid work. Acuna definitely was giving me like Del Mundo vibes. I definitely feel like he leveled up.
Good call.
I don't know. I this one I don't know. I just because everyone kept talking about it, but no one would tell me what the fuck it was about. So I was kind of like, oh shit, it must be this crazy thing. I even asked about it in the chats, but still I got no answer. But this was a solid book. It's nothing. I wasn't amazed by it, but it was solid work. A solid first issue. I'm curious to see where it goes. Nice little mystery. Kept assembling the team.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but So we move through it. He has this conversation with Luke in the park. Luke tells him that he needs him to be, more than he is, basically, and we like realize that there's eyes on him, from these flipping cameras. Anyway, gets back home, got on the TV, and like one of the most relatable, I think this is just such a great plot line. I think it's relatable on so many levels, considering what we see on TV and in the media and on social media and the internet, and just it's pervasive throughout our society these days. Is the truth is like a twisted construct, and reality is what you make it. But yeah, Cap turns on the TV, and we get the special about Red Skull. He wasn't really awful. He was trying to bring down the Nazi regime from within the Third Reich, and I just love this. I thought this was a great a great little plot point to build this little first issue on. Super relatable and believable in today's world. E, how'd you feel about this one, bro? This little sequence.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it is it's that notion of controlling information through media, right? Like the only truth is what's presented to you. So yeah, it's very much in tune with arguably, yeah, what we see in today's society, whether you're leaning one way or the other here. Like there's always this skewed reality, and this is definitely leaning into that.
Oh yeah. Lynk, how about you, bro? Did you like this little
It was an interesting wrinkle. Like I thought that was a cool little spin. And like you guys said, definitely fits the way news is manipulated, information is manipulated nowadays, or construed, conveyed one way. Yeah, interesting little.
Oh yeah. Word. So yeah. He in Cap's just he's pissed off, and then he's kind of reminiscing. And then we get our first look at our kind of, I guess, who's going to be like our super villain of the story. James Stark, who's Tony's son. And I love this character design and the look of this kid. It's so great. And I love, especially when we'll get to it here, his debate with Steve. But so we find out that, he's basically the, one of the top scions, tycoons of the world, is really running things. We find out later that he's part of a conglomerate. And Jarvis's brother, right? Jarvis's brother is his like personal assistant, or his mentor, kind of guiding him or whatever. In some ways, this kid is definitely off the chain. But yeah, like I said, I just love the spiked hair. I love the like the Iron Man tattoos. I'm curious to see him like turn into Iron Man. But yeah. Anyway, we get into pretty much immediately after we see Red Skull on TV. We get into the debate with Captain America shows up on a moderated debate with James Stark. Real quick, before we get into this, let me just say what's up in the chat. A bunch of people joined us. Bruno's in here. Still can't find the remote. We know how that goes, bro. Good luck. Babel, what up, bro? Thank you for coming through. Got you. My boy Manny is in the house. Manny Station. My boy Nick is in. Nick, what up? Station. Thank all my brothers are in here. Appreciate y'all for coming through. And I saw, of course. Oh, UG! Carrie, what up? Thank you so much for coming through and hanging with us. All right. So, yeah, back to the TV debate. Steve's like, we can't glorify this guy. Good people died fighting him. What are we doing here? And, James hits him with the whole, what were you heroes really doing? Really just shifts the perspective in a way that Steve's not ready for, and makes him look outdated and, with ideals that carried on for too long in the right way. They pull up this horrible background of H-Day, which we find out later was this apocalyptic attack on the superhero community and the civilian population at large by Ultron. But yeah, Steve's just kind of gets ambushed in this moment. Like I said, down here on the bottom right, I love James's look, like all fired up with the turtleneck, the two pierced ears. It's just such a, I don't know. I love his. It feels exactly like what a son of Tony Stark gone wrong would look like. You know what I mean? But yeah, so it's a rough appearance for Steve here at the debate. Did you guys any thoughts on this one before we keep moving on? No. All right, fair enough.
It reminded me of Old Man Logan a little bit, the H-Day stuff. I know they get more into it, but I thought that was a cool little I guess alternate take. That one was way more.
Damn, I forgot all about that, dude. Good call. Yeah, I forgot that's what it was called like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it's a continuation of just the other parts of the story too. Like Steve walks into this with the illusion that this is going to be a respectful thing, right? But like we know that that's not present even in today's environment. Like it's all about the spin. It's all about taking the story and making it what you want, and like dude wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, I love that scene. Like when they pull that background, and he's like, what are you even like? And he kind of just like stumbles on his speech for a minute. That was just that was very poignant. Anyway, yeah. So, let me get to the. Oh, I thought this was great. This flashback again. Lynk, well said with the Del Mundo reference, man. It definitely has that Del Mundo, like, what was that Avengers run he did for a little bit with
Wade?
Yeah, that's right. It definitely has that vibe. Absolutely, good call. But yeah, we see a little H-Day flashback where Cap's kind of consoling a dying Peter Parker Spider-Man. Ultron, I guess, like found out where, got all their identities, lured them into vulnerable type situations, ambushed all these superheroes, or the ones that were the biggest threats, and then proceeded to attack the civilian population. Was it New York City? I forget what city it was. I feel like it's always New York.
Denver, Boston, I think.
I think you're
was
right.
it Boston?
I think it was Boston.
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah. Anyway, this is kind of like the third act of our story here. Steve is walking home, sees a couple of these Stark equipped, or like enforced. I don't know. It looks like they kind of have Iron Man gear on. I forget who specifically they're sponsored by, but they're definitely part of the James Stark regime or whatever. They question these kids who are actually giving Cap shit. They end up getting too rough with them. Cap tells them to lay off, and then Cap ends up trying to take them. He's got a couple of them on the ropes, but they end up overpowering him. And then he gets helped out of the situation by this mysterious group of strangers, who ends up being Luke Cage. Now, this is where I need y'all's help. Oh shit, hold on. I need y'all's help in identifying who else was with Luke Cage, but let's get to this real quick. So we get in the earlier part of the issue, they're asking James Stark or Jarvis's brother tells James Stark the U.S. Army needs more developments on this technology or whatever that they're trying to use. And James Stark's saying that he's hitting mental roadblocks. He just can't come up with anything else, right? And so this is like him trying to resolve that and come up with something else for this technology. And we find out that Tony is actually indeed alive in this fucked up vegetable type state, and that James has some type of Iron Man cerebro type rig to communicate with him, and I guess like get ideas. I love that this is family business quote there. This was crazy as hell to see. What did y'all think about this one? I thought this was one of the high points of the issue.
Yeah. Tony Stark is Zordon, bro. I don't know. It kind of looks like it's just his head, and I mean, that's what the vibes it gave me.
That's great, bro. That's such.
I I was thinking kind of though, like with maybe because James is such a prick that Tony saw it coming. You know, I guess everyone thinks Tony's dead, and maybe Tony didn't let him have access to his suits. So this is like his way of he's like keeping Tony alive, and so I don't know. I feel like this has something around the has to do with something of that nature of him using Tony being alive to still be able to control his suits somehow without like maybe if Tony was really dead, he wouldn't have access to the suits because Tony didn't trust him. I know they say he's trying to communicate with them, but
no, I gotta admit, I was like
staring.
I was like staring at his eyes, trying to see like how conscious he was, like how you know what I mean, how glazed over his eyes were. Like I don't know. Yeah, it was definitely like it was definitely a jaw dropper.
Yeah, I love the fact that like Tony, the pinnacle of like technology, is like relegated to like the thing that is so antiquated with technology is like the head in a glass jar. You know, the thing that you see in like all the old science fiction movies and things like that. That's what he is now. But Steph, you're totally right, because we all know that Tony's not the kind of guy that doesn't have a backup plan. So he probably has a death trigger in there that's not going to do too well for his prick of a son.
I can't wait to see. I think we only got 4 issues, but I can't wait to see where this goes. Anyway, so we get to this kind of like underground resistance where, like my man Nick said, we see more of Luke's cage skin, and it does more look. It looks like those things, the thing scales, kind of his rocky scales. Anyway, he tells him that what the people really need right now is a symbol that they can rally around, and that he's not doing anybody any good, like he's told him before, being hidden away, and that of course they found a way to manufacture the super serum again. Like that has got to be that formula can't be that hard to crack. That's all I'm saying. And we're back at it. But regardless, this was badass. And bro looks ready for action. Like I'm with it. I'm curious to see. I guess these covers, Iron Man, Miss Marvel, and Thor, are going to be our Avengers. I'm curious to see who her like geriatric Avengers are going to be. But dude, hell of a first issue. This one, yeah, it kind of caught me off guard. Like I knew with Chip it was going to be good, but this one really blew me away. And excited to see where it goes in the next 3 issues we got. But yeah, how about y'all with the ending? How did you feel? Lynk, how did you feel with the ending, bro?
Oh yeah, it was I'm gonna see where the rest of the series goes. It was a solid first issue.
Oh yeah. Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, definitely. It's just a great setup. I'm definitely intrigued to see where they're going to take this. There's no reason not to pick this up and see where they run. So, do y'all know who designed these suits though? Because I know Alex Ross is big on doing that kind of stuff, and he's doing covers. I'm just wondering if Ross was on that duty or if it was Daniel Acuna.
They had a
I'm pretty sure he designed. It's when in like 2016 when Sam had his own Cap series, and Steve had his being written by Nick Spencer. And I think it was Jesus was on it. I believe Acuna had designed that suit of Cap, if I'm not mistaken. And this one looks very similar to that suit. So I feel like Acuna designed him.
Yeah, because it's got in the back. It's got like he's definitely doing heavy designs, like with that. Like, and those are like the Iron Cops and he calls them Iron Cops and the Defenders. Oh, I guess that's a hint at who it'll be, but.
Oh, the Defenders.
Yeah.
Oh, the Iron Cops. Oh, okay. Iron Cops.
Iron Cops and cool Defenders. So, all right, hell yeah! But yeah, great first issue. Avengers Twilight. Can't wait to see where it goes. All right, on to the Energon universe. Cobra Commander #1. This was now. I wish anybody out there in the chat who knows their GI Joe talk to me in the comments, because I don't know the whole history of Cobra Law, but regardless, I love the hell out of this book. I thought it was very well done. These variant covers were kind of killer for kind of all just being, Cobra Commander shots. I like the John Jiang there on the right, and then David Mack there on the right, Sorrentino on the left, both solid. And then Maria, I think this Maria the Wolf was my favorite. But those are like, sorry, Taki, that's like a retailer variant or something, brother. So yeah, good luck finding some of those. Anyway, we start off at the truck stop. Cobra Commander comes in looking for a ride. Immediately finds one with the violence, the ultra violence, cutting dudes up. And then we get this cool little flashback. Now, this is the part I had no idea existed for, like, in the canon of the character, that they were part of some alien snake society. And you know, he was, you know, leading this, you know, some faction of its military. Yeah, yes, or the science. He was leading some science research division of it, and trying to defend that, and got taken out by. This was funny as hell though, with the, you know, giving her the grenade, and then like, am I supposed to throw this? And he's like, "You fool!" I love that moment. But yeah, then like, great art here. I love that, like, view of him getting blown up. I love all the sound effects and all that good stuff. This was cool though. Like, this was my favorite part of it. Like, him getting all healed up by the snakes, and I love the color palette here, and I just love this vibe. I didn't realize, like, he had the snake eye as part of you know, what he had going on. You see it right there? Like, that shit is crazy as hell. But this was fascinating to me. This was all new to me. So, like, in that part of, like, the G.I. Joe universe, I really don't know that much about Cobra Commander, but this was dope. Regardless, and great art. Yeah. So he kind of gets healed up. Then his superior tells him he just healed him up so he could watch him die, that, you know, he's failed him or whatever. Dude takes out these little, like, I don't know how to call them, like flesh-eating beetles, I guess is the best way to describe them. And they take out any and all opposition. And he's like, "Look, I pledge my undying fealty and loyalty to Cobra Law. Just give me a shot." And so that's when we get to, you know, what his real secret weapon is here, and the big reveal. And this was a great shot. This was where, like, some of the best art, I think, of the issue came through for me. But yeah, we see it's Megatron. He's kind of like he's got him up to a shock and torture system. But we all know that's not going to last. And so we see, like, as he leaves the room, you know, that great, like, you know, yeah, coming alive. But yeah, so he's already figured out that there is this unique energy source out there. He's tracked it several locations across the globe, and that's his mission. He's out to capture it, to bring glory to Cobra Law, you know, with the things he can do with this new energy. So that's how he ties into the whole universe, which I thought was very clever. Just even being on the outside looking in, the accessibility of this was great for me. But yeah, I don't know. Did you guys read this one? Link, you read this one, bro? What'd you think of it overall?
Yeah. I enjoyed this one quite a bit. I'm in the same boat as you. I'm not too familiar with, like, I've seen, like, G.I. Joe back in the day, a few episodes, and I played with some of the toys. My cousin used to have some of them, but for the most part, you know, I'm even more in the dark with the Joe universe than I am when it comes to Transformers. I was curious to see how this would tie in to all of that overall arcing stuff, and it was cool. Was wondering where Megatron was, and they answered that in this, and it makes sense. But yeah, it was cool. I felt like Josh Williamson did a good job of making him sound like, I don't know. I just, in my head, I kept screaming like Cobra, you know, every time. Like when he was, like, blown up by the fire and shit like that. Like, I just imagine he'd be like, Cobra. But I feel like he got the voice down quite well. The art was great, like you said. The coloring was fantastic. I think this was in the same vein as Void Rivals and Transformers for me.
Yeah, man.
Another banger.
Yeah, they
Very
have
easily.
no misses.
Yeah, yeah. What did the G.I. Joe one come out, or the what's his
Duke number one.
Duke, yeah.
Duke came out? Okay, I gotta
Mhm.
check that one out then.
That one's solid as well. But I kind of like this one a little bit more than Duke. But Duke's good as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Duke's got some solid Transformer tie-ins that you'll recognize right away. A moment you can't miss.
Okay.
Put it that way. How about you, E? How'd you feel about this one?
Yeah, I think you both had like great points on this. Lynk, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. Everyone has a cousin who had all the GI Joes, but I feel like nobody actually owned the GI Joes themselves. Because I remember going to people's houses and playing with those things, but I never owned a single one. But
yeah, what's the white one? Is the white one Storm Shadow?
Storm Shadow, I believe. Yes,
I think so. Yeah,
yeah, because Snake Eyes is the one that has the dark suit. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I remember my homie had the Storm Shadow, and I was like obsessed.
Oh hell yeah! But accessibility too. Like where Transformers, I feel like kicked down the door, and they were just like, boom, this is the new Transformers. Here we are. This one, in the beginning, like the grenade scene, right? When the grenade goes off and everything happens, that felt like the bumbling Cobra that we were accustomed to when we would watch the cartoon. I was like, oh yeah, that's that dude that's just like Skeletor screaming at people, right? But then as soon as everything goes off and the killer beetles go off and he's just, murdering people left and right without blinking an eye, and the things that happen in the beginning of the issue, you can see this is a way more menacing take. This is a way more like it introduces you like, okay, here was the past. This is where we're going now. And that's what made it super exciting for me, because I feel like this did something that no other Energon Universe book has done yet, which was kind of just, kind of take you through that journey. Everything else, it tossed you in rather than kind of taking you by the hand.
Oh yeah, yeah. Good points all. Oh yeah, fellas. Yeah. So looking forward, dude. Look at this sick ass Transformers #5 cover. Good lord, I can't wait for that. God, I love the blues there. That's just so great.
Dude, Tom Riley is so good. He's like a master storyteller.
Are you talking about on Duke?
Oh hell yeah,
Duke,
yeah.
Oh, Williamson is doing Duke as well.
No, I was just talking about how great the Transformers cover. Yeah. Oh yeah. Williamson's on. He's on double duty, man. Yeah. So it'll be. Can't wait to see where it goes. Oh yeah. All right. So starting our look at, our continuing look at the Marvel Knights universe, I thought we would start tonight with a great little tale of Not Lying to Your Editor, featuring Jay Lee and Inhumans. And let's just talk about how this book came to be. So Quesada had known Jay Lee since. Sorry for all the text in these slides, guys. This is just to help me keep track. So apologies in advance. So yeah, Quesada had known Jay Lee since he was 16. Reached out to him about doing a book. He got on the phone with his freaking collaborator and great artist in his own right, Jose Villarrubia, and they just went through the handbook of the Marvel Universe, landed on decided the Inhumans would be dope. Jay Lee had just recently read Hellblazer by Paul Jenkins, and that was his one stipulation. Paul Jenkins is dope. I want him to write Inhumans. Of course, we got Jay Lee's great art here from Namor from the early 90s, the Youngblood Strike file. That's the Hellblazer Jenkins runs down there on the bottom. But yeah, the only problem was that because how to put it, Jay Lee was deadline allergic, deadline challenged. At that point in career, he could not get his stuff in time. But they had a secret weapon. Nancy Dekejian. This woman she was the managing editor of Marvel Knights. She later ended up becoming Quesada's wife. But she was a force of nature, man. Like she was living out of her car in New York City at one point in time. Garth Ennis named a character in the Punisher, after a tough ass character in the Punisher. After I think actually there's 2 or 3 writers who have named tough ass characters after Nancy Dickinson in comic books. Just like one of those tough love mothers, she knew, like, you got to know what motivates certain people, what makes them tick, and empathize with them on that level. And it seemed from everything that, again, I got a lot of this off of the oral history of the Marvel Knights. Marvel.com has a great feature on that. Y'all check it out. But she just seemed like one of those great mothers to many, where she knew how to, communicate with people. Anyway, they're going through deadline issues with Jay Lee, and he's bullshitting, he's stalling on them. He lives in Virginia at the time, so yes, shout out my home state. She is in New York, but she's like, one day she keeps threatening him. One day I'm going to drive down there. So one day, like they're deadline hungry. One day he's bullshitting. She's had enough. She gets in the car and she drives down there. She didn't have GPS. She didn't know exactly where she lived, so she said she was asking postal workers. She was asking the police department where Jay Lee lived, and they're like, "Why don't you just call him?" And she's like, "I don't want him to know I'm coming." So finally, she shows up at his house, and I love this. He said, "It's too bad we didn't have camera phones and YouTube back then. She could have recorded my reaction, and it would have been a viral hit and a lesson to freelancers everywhere." So she said, every day when Jay was sending me the faxes, he would say, "Oh, I have to go to a copy store and get a copy made, so I can't do it right now. I'll do it later." She walks in his house. He's got a big ass copy machine right there. So she caught him red-handed, knew he was lying. Anyway, they went out to lunch. They're going back, and she's like, "I'm taking those pages back with me." He's like, "No, I'll mail them to you." And she's like, "Motherfucker, I just drove all this way. I'm taking these pages back with me." But yeah, Quesada said, she got 12 issues out of him on time, and proved a lot of people wrong. So yeah, shout out. I thought that was a great story of like her walking in and busting him. Can you imagine being an artist and bullshitting your editor, and then they call you, tell you they're outside, and they're walking in the front door, and you got no excuses for them? I just thought that was a great story and a great moment. Behind a great book, dude. Like, he did the damn thing in this one. You can't even like the man did. I think he did everything. I think he did the coloring and all that. It's got this. I love this. It's got this macabre, like, horror type vibe to it this whole time. But Adelan facing threats from inside and outside with the U.S. government, threatening to fire on it. And then I love how Maximus is portrayed in the series and how he's kind of like the undoing, and he just, I don't know. It's so great. It's so well done and so subtle. Have you guys read this one? Recently, you have any opinions on Inhumans? The Jenkins and Jay Lee?
I've actually not read this one yet, man. Sad to say. I've always been aware of it, but I've never gotten to it yet. I've never actually looked at any interiors, bro. I mean, I shouldn't have to be surprised by Jay Lee, but these are badass looking. Especially that one with Black Bolt flying right at there.
Yeah, you already know what time it is after you featured that FF 1234 book last week. So
very true. Yeah. Very true.
E, how about you, bro? You read this one?
Yeah, I've read it, but I haven't read it since it came out on stands. It's been a long time here. But yeah, this was, you could definitely tell this was kind of like, not the final step, obviously, but it was the next step in Jay Lee's evolution too. And obviously Nancy Q had a little bit of something to do with that, but hey, you got to hit that deadline style.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Absolutely. Hell yeah. All right. So moving on. The other one I wanted to cover before we got to Daredevil was Black Panther by Priest and initially Texeira, but I got some Joe Jusko did a couple, I think 3 issues here in the early part of the run that I wanted to highlight. Dude, they're fantastic. Wait, I'll show you the art. But yeah, so how we got here. This is another book that was built off Palmiotti and Quesada's relationships. Christopher Priest, who is known as Jim Owsley at one point, gave Quesada his first editor job back in the early 90s at DC. Palmiotti knew Mark Texeira from high school. They were buddies. And Priest turned down Quesada and Marvel Knights initially, and I wanted to get to that real quick. I got a little clip for that one. watch this real quick.
Quesada reached out.
When he started making noise about the Marvel Knights project, I thought, well, hey, here's my chance to write Daredevil. You know, I've always wanted to write Daredevil. I still want to write Daredevil. When he said Black Panther, I was like, who? I was so focused on Daredevil that it took me a while to hear him when he said Black Panther. And I had no interest in writing Black Panther. Black Panther?
Priest had a point. The Panther had been mishandled by Marvel for years. Up until that point, the last time Black Panther was relevant was during Don McGregor's Jungle Action run in the 1970s. Not only had he become an obscure name, he'd also become a character who was sort of boring.
So I turned him down. Then I got this call from Mark Waid. What are you doing? What are you doing? You got to do this. And I was like, what are you talking about? No, it's going to be great. No, they've got this whole idea, you know? And then I get a call from Brian Augustine, who was an editor at DC at the time. You know, and Brian is like, you know, Jim, you gotta look into this.
Priest decided he would only do it if he were able to portray the Panther the way he wanted to.
So I thought about it, and then I called, I had the second conversation with Joe and Jimmy, and I laid down this manifesto. He's got to be smarter than the other guys. He's got to be tougher than the other guys. Got to have technology, you know. And I laid out these basic tent poles of the character as I saw him. We have to go back to Stan. My reference is Stan. You know, with all due respect to Don and Roy and all these guys that wrote him, I'm going back to the guy who created him.
And so, hold on, let me get back to that. So yeah, Priest wanted to go. He wanted his Black Panther to be rich, to be technologically advanced, and the guy who could beat, who was smart enough to beat the Fantastic Four all by himself and laugh doing it. You know what I mean? So, and he did that, man. He only lasted Tex only lasted 4 issues on the initial run, but Priest went 62 issues on this bad boy. And like the MCU, a lot of the hallmarks of the MCU Panther, the Dora Milaje, Okoye, Everett Ross, like all these cats are Priest creations. In the first issue or two. Everett Ross was actually a character he brought over from his Kazar run, crazy enough. But yeah, huge characters in the MCU, and they all began here with his run. Of course, starting off, the text artwork is crazy. I know the man. They had real issues with this. I think it strained friendships, the issues they had with deadlines with this man. But regardless, it was such a great start to the book with Everett Ross on the toilet shooting at rats in Harlem. It was just such a great start. And I love they talked about how they all kind of collaborated on agreeing to having it be a Coming to America vibe. They wanted to have him, like, so much of Panther had been set in the fantasy world of Wakanda. They wanted to bring him like in a fish out of water into New York City and have him interact in that environment. And they just kind of took off running from that. But yeah, I love how cool he looks, like outside of his suit. I love how cool he looks in the suit. The Dora Milaje are like this is not the MCU's Dora Milaje right here, but like I just love the way they look, regardless. It's of its time, but it's timeless in a way to me. But yeah, this was revolutionary for the character. I mean, look at this art here. So we start off like he's in. I think he's taking care of some like local type situations. I forget the exact plot line. It's been so long since I've read this one, and I did not do my. I know Mephisto obviously has a part to play, and Everett Ross trades his pants to the devil for something. That's why you see him pantless there with Mephisto. I think that's how the first issue ends. Just great, yeah, great text art. Yeah, it's Mephisto's killer, dude. And there's
I love that depiction of Mephisto too, man. That's like straight pulling from the JRJR version of him.
It's so like wicked, man. Look at that fucking cover; it's so great. And I love the 9-panel. They have a couple of these in this issue, 9-panel grids with Everett Ross talking to him, and they're just comedic and funny as hell. But yeah, hold on. I wanted to get through. Yeah, this is I think the last issue was the FF cover, but yeah, I was surprised to learn when I was doing my research that Jusco did. He did this little arc with Kraven the Hunter, in it,
Oh
and
shit.
he also did this throwback issue, dude, and they look fucking fantastic. Anybody who's
That
a '90s
ass.
baby knows Joe Jusko, dude. My heaviest reference for him is those gorgeous Marvel masterpiece cards that he did, which I think are timeless pieces of art. Whether you're a '90s fan or not, I just think they're gorgeous. That Silver Surfer card he did, I think, is one of the best pieces of art I've ever seen. Period. But y'all check him out, Joe Jusko, Jusko. He's on Instagram. But you know, Google him. You check him out. He's a master. He's got the painted style going on, which a lot of cats had going on at this time, but especially in the trading card biz, which is really how he made his name. And I think he's still making his name in the trading card biz, and rightfully so. But yeah, he did interiors, I think, on 6, 7, and 8 here, and they're great with this
Oh
Craven
yeah,
art.
that's badass.
Yeah.
I love
I
this.
think it was just last year he had a Kickstarter where they released like a book of all of the Marvel Masterpiece cards, like just real high res, huge versions of them. Oh, they look great.
Hell yeah,
Oh shit.
gotta check that out. Because dude, some of those cards are like so burned in my memory as like the image of like his Wolverine card is like my stock image of Wolverine. You know what I mean? Like it's that heavy with me. Those cards had made such an impression. But yeah, I love his use of color here. We get some Avengers action here towards the end of 6. Yeah, man. But this was the throwback issue I was talking about. Like he mixed kind of like a throwback Kirby style, like with his own painted style, all in the same issue. It was really dope. Yeah, man. I was surprised to see this. This is all within the first 10 issues of the run. Thor gets
That's
shot.
Joe Jusko as well.
Joe Jusko as well. Thor gets shot in the head by some like random magical bullet that penetrates his skin, so we think he's dead, but doesn't penetrate his skull. It just he goes unconscious from the force of it. It's like Thor just got shot in the fucking.
Can you go back a few panels?
Yeah, of course, bro.
That right there, that like gives me that's great. I'm very impressed. Like gives me like
Yeah,
a little bit like Marcos Martin vibes mixed with like the specifically the top panel, like the bottom panel with like Cap and Black Panther's face. I can see the Jusko, but that's impressive, man. I wish more people did shit like that.
Yeah, dude, I love him.
Did-
And then that, like, I love that page on the right. That's the Joe Jusko I love right there. I grew up loving. But yeah, a crazy couple issues. I was really delighted. I was really delighted to find these. But yeah. So y'all check those out. That's 6, 7, and 8 in the 1998 Black Panther Marvel Knights run. But next week we got a tale of 2 Punishers. We got a Punisher that lasted 4 issues with Guns from God, right? And then we got Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon. And then Lynk, I think you would be happy to get into this one with me, bro. Marvel Boy. I know you're a Grant Morrison stand with me. Yeah, I thought we would have fun job of that one. Oh yeah. But yeah, I can't wait to talk to those 2 Punishers, Marvel Boy, next week from Marvel Knights. Oh yeah. All right. So now on to our guest featured, like one. You said one of your favorite comics all time, or the favorite comic? Is it your favorite comic all time? I know. You're first and foremost, you're a Daredevil guy, right? He's your guy.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Number
yeah,
one.
but yeah, Marvel Knights is where that kind of where that all formulated, right? Like I was a Kevin Smith fan back in the day, so I picked up Guardian Devil, and then Bendis opened my eyes towards what he was really capable of, right? Daredevil, and as Bendis as a writer.
Oh yeah. All right, let's get into our little video intro of the babyface.
Always put your character in the place they least like to be. So anytime I start an issue, I'm like, all right, where's the...
All right, and at the end of this, too, he's got a hot take about comics I want to talk about. So just bear with him. He kind of meanders for a little bit, but...
Where's the place that Daredevil would least like to be? What's the biggest fear? And that's how we started this whole run that we're on right now, where Daredevil's been outed by the tabloids, because it just seemed to me that Daredevil had been very sloppy with his secret identity. People had read the comic book over the years, even way back in Miller's years. Every time any girl made Google Eyes at Matt, he'd end up telling them he was Daredevil. And it was kind of to the point where it was funny. And then Kingpin found out he was Daredevil, and Foggy knew he was Daredevil, and every girl every year, everyone knew he was Daredevil, and no one was really doing anything about it. Even the Kingpin was going, well, now I got him where I want him. Meanwhile, he never did anything. And the world's so much more complicated than it was in the 60s. How hard would it be to keep a secret identity? Even think about that. How hard, and you can't, everything a celebrity does, and we all know those tabloid stories are true, everything they do, we find out about everything. There's videotape of everyone doing everything to anybody, right? So I go, here's the story of a modern society superhero. Let's really tell it and see how he deals with it. Let's see where Matt's character is. Well, what happened with that following artist is that artist became like superstar artist, and then it got into this weird area where the artist had totally taken over every aspect of the creation of the comic, and everything was big double-page spreads, and and tons of bats and flowing capes and chains, and there's a great tradition in comics of the splash page. You turn the page and boom, there's the shot, and then it became every page was the boom, there's the shot, boom, there's the shot, boom. There's no story. It was just, and no matter how great the drawing is, if the comic is only about that drawing, it's a very shallow experience. I was actually working at a comic store during this period. I was in college, and I was working at a comic store, and people come up and not remember if they bought a particular issue, and it was like $5 an issue, and they'd be like, did I buy this? I'm like, wow, if I took $5 out and even slapped you, you'd remember. So, and I remember, well, they're not having any kind of experience. They're not, not a real experience. What we're in now is very writer oriented, and what you get there is, from the most basic level, what's attracting to the comic book is an idea or a series of ideas, and that's so much more captivating than a pinup.
All right. I agree and disagree with that statement. Like, I feel like at times an idea in a series of ideas is definitely what I'm after, and some of my favorite comics are that. But like at the same time, like pinup art, dude. I mean, my childhood love of comics is built up of a pinup art. Like honestly, I was just looking at the Spirits of Vengeance Johnny Blaze pinup by Kubert the other day. So I don't know. Opinionated as always, Brian Michael Bendis. What do you guys think of that clip? Any general thoughts before we get into the run?
I mean, I guess things change. I mean, I think we all, or most people who start comics at a certain age or a certain year, it was about the art. The stories were cool, but we were more drawn to how it looked cool. What looked appealing. But I feel like our tastes change. It just, don't get me wrong, I still get a book just based off the images sometimes. But I guess that's what he meant, is like, it had been done for so long that people, got jaded from it, almost like they're looking for something new. Like, and that's
For sure.
the writers present their ideas.
Yeah, and he's coming in at the end of the '90s, so I get it.
Exactly.
Yeah, because he's not really hiding the fact that he's throwing shade at the Image guys, right? Like, I think we all know who he's referencing very clearly. But yeah, I mean, so it's an agree or disagree kind of thing. Like, yeah, I grew up with that stuff. I have very fond memories of the splash pages, the comic books they had to flip this way to get that double page spread. That was the thing that they did back then. But then again, in the same vein, if I think we all hold comics like Watchmen in a high regard, right? Rightfully so, because it changed the game before all that stuff happened. But if you look at that, it's a 9-panel grid 24/7. It's all the way through there. Like it's not about the splash page, and that's arguably the evolution, the change into an adult mentality for comics. So it all depends on what who the audience is. So I partially agree with them, but that could be because I'm in my 40s now.
Yeah. We've seen both sides of the fence. Fair enough, though, yeah. All right, so like I know getting into it, we just wanted to talk about these incredible David Mack covers, dude. Like we were saying in the back chat, like channeling Sienkiewicz, kind of like with almost like this mixed media almost type style. These are incredible. Again, this is this is a few issues before Bendis and Maleev hop on, but this is when David Mack's cover run starts. Any general thoughts on these guys?
I mean, yeah, just classic Mack. I mean, they're it's such a well done composition. The use of color, like he definitely has a hallmark now. You can see it a mile away, but like seeing these, from when they were first hitting the stands way back then, it was really game changing. It was reminiscent. Stu, you and I were talking about it. It's got like flavors of Sienkiewicz. It's got flavors of Dave McKean in there. But altogether, it's something wholly David Mack that I haven't seen replicated in other artists either.
Oh yeah. Lynk, how about you, bro? How you feel about these David Mack covers?
Oh, they're next level. I'm sure I've always appreciated the way Mack interweaves like different art styles when he's telling a story. Like I'm not sure, but some stuff I've looked at, it seemed like, especially in these earlier issues, it seems like it's like a mixture of collage mixed with like painting or crayon, like whatever he was feeling. I've always, he could just kind of combines it, and I've always respected that. You always get some truly, like you said, it's more distinct now, but this early stuff, it's he's still a fantastic artist, but early stuff, it's next level, man.
Absolutely. It really is.
The collage aspect of it too. I remember watching him do some art and prepare and get everything ready. And I mean, he was pulling things from everywhere. Like he had just like ripped up pages that like where he was typing things on a typewriter, and that became an aspect of the art that got painted over. It's just wild. I don't know how the human brain works that way to put that kind of chaos together to make a piece of art.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get to the chat real quick. My brother Talk clocked in. Talk, what up, bro? Where is it? Oh, wait. There we go. Talk station, bro. As a Bears fan, it hurts me to say the Packers put up a hell of a run this year. I did not see that coming with Jordan Love. I swear to God, if they give us a fucking break, man. All right. That's all I'm gonna say. Nick, welcome to the playoff pool with us, bro. My bro Fable said a nice splash here and there is certainly appreciated. Of course, man. I love when comics get creative with the grid layout, almost making the panel itself art. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's
so true.
Maria Station, thank you for coming through. All right, hell yeah. So yeah, let's get into the Bendis run, man. Yeah, obviously. So, like you said in the video, his what would you consider the general his identity is like they do drag the identity out and over however many issues. What is it, like 40 something?
Quite a few, wasn't it?
How many issues is it? Do you know off the top of your head?
It was 26 through 89.
Okay, so it's 60. Okay.
My mental math is pretty bad, but it was and there was a little gap in there where Matt comes back, but I think that was only like 40.
Well, I thought it was like 20 less than that. So hell yeah. So yeah, but that was the basic crux of it. Yeah, initially, at least starting out, right? Like his his identity is really being used against him, and like he's really got a price out on his head this time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, that's like I love the Maleev art throughout. You see him kind of desperate, kind of cornering Kingpin, thinking it's Kingpin early on, but it's not. One of my favorite issues, I highlighted this one on Instagram a little while ago, was this basically the silent issue. We got issue 28, Daredevil number 28 with Maleev. Matt comes into his law office. He finds this note from Elektra. I love how he smells it. To know, right there, he smells it to know it's her. She basically tells him, there is a bounty on your head, $500,000. I don't know who put it out, but it is out there, and you are. I can't read her. Try not to die, she says. Anyway, so Matt's got this note. He's got this knowledge. He's kind of moving through his law office with these memories of Elektra and Karen and Bullseye, and it's just great. I love the panels throughout this issue. Right, every single one tells a story. Maleev is such a master, just from early, and this is really early on in the run. You just know this is going to be something special.
Yeah.
Anyway, Matt's in his fucking law office. Link, this is the one I told you about last week, bro. He feels a fucking dot. He feels a laser dot on his head. Like, what? This is such a great Daredevil moment. And sorry, I'm waking up my kids. Such a great Daredevil moment, and one I feel is so believable for his like crazy, awesome sensitive powers. Anyway, Homeboy's got him in the scope. He's touching it on his forehead. He's gone from the scope, and the next thing you know, he's got Daredevil on his ass. He's got a, what's his little thing called again? He's got one of those in his face, right there, right. Then he's on top of him. He's got his gun. He's breaking the gun. And this is great, right? We still don't have a single word of dialogue in this issue.
Was this part of those wordless issues, the enough said issues?
No, man. Or wait, actually, yeah, you're right, dude. It was. This is the one I featured because of that series. Yep, you're right. It was part of that. This is like one of the best, if not the best. I think this and the new X-Men Psychic Rescue. I think those two, I think those are the two best ones. Anyway, dude's got two handguns on him, so he makes it a fight and a knife. It doesn't last very long. He almost goes over the roof. Daredevil saves his life, brings him back up rooftop, finds a picture of him on him, what the bounty, kind of reads it with his hand. Who is this guy? Some guy from his past? This guy with the blue mask and who is this fella?
Dude, I was about to say that they're pulling in all the D-listers, right? Because the guy previous to that was Shotgun. This one, I'll be honest, I could not pull this one out of a hat, man. I have no idea.
Okay, but we're led to believe these are like some like DEF list characters in the Daredevil canon. Okay, cool. Yeah. That's still cool regardless. We don't necessarily need to know who they are to know that. You know what I mean? It definitely feels like a Captain Boomerang ripoff. That's what it felt like to me. Like, dude's got the same type of deal in the Boomerang. Anyway, Daredevil kind of beats him bloody in the street, finds another picture of the same dealio, and then like he feels somebody familiar out there in the crowd, right? And I love this like Bullseye looking like V for Vendetta. Oh, sorry, here on the right. And Daredevil's trying frantically in this crowd to identify him and figure out where he is, but he just can't. Like, and I just thought it was a great way to end the issue with him just kind of being lost and overwhelmed. Dude, such a great, like I said, not a line of dialogue spoken. Such a great silent issue. Thanks again for reminding me about the Enough Said event, Link. But yeah, any thoughts, guys, before we?
My first entry into Daredevil, I guess, was it was like the Bendis and Maleev first arc, and I think that led me to go back to the Quesada and Smith stuff. But I remember I skipped out on like the Mack stuff because I remember you said like Mack took over after a couple issues, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Like I was like 20, it was like 2008 when I was reading it, so like the tonal shift didn't jive for me, so I gave up on that. But yeah, I remember being like, man, why did it take me so long to read this? Like I would always hear people talking about Daredevil, but I think it was Immortal Iron Fist that come out the year before I read this. That was like really some of my first exposure to Maleev on art in the singular issues. Like I'd seen his art, but it wasn't until Immortal Iron Fist where I was like, oh, might have to go check out that Daredevil run, because I was a big fan of New Avengers, Bendis, Ultimate Spider-Man. So it was those two that finally got me to take the chance on Daredevil, and it was one of those things where had been kicking my ass for not reading it for years. Like, this is what comics are supposed to be like, man. Monthly comics.
Facts, bro. Big facts. E, how about you, brother?
dude, like if I had to describe the Bendis run on Daredevil without telling you that Daredevil was involved and give you no details of the story, I would say that it's Shakespeare by way of Raymond Chandler, by way of Aaron Sorkin, right? Because like the whole storyline, the whole plot, it's so Shakespearean. Like, I mean, and it's right there on the nose in the very first issue, right? Where Silk, you know, the mobster who wants to take the throne, comes after Kingpin. He's like, "You've never heard of Julius Caesar?"
Oh yeah, I forgot. Hold on, I thought I had a picture of that, a Kingpin getting stabbed to death. Yeah, there it is. My bad. Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, it's right there on the nose. You know, he takes that Shakespearean aspect of it, totally puts the noir vibes, you know, behind it from all the work that he'd done previously through Jinx and Torso and everything like that. But this is the first introduction of what we now commonly know of as Bendis speak, right? And we kind of, it's become a trope in comics now, but this is the beginnings of that, and this is it was a revolution.
Yeah, I mean,
over the dialogue that we come to expect in comics. It was like it was a total sea change of this is what comics were, this is what comics are.
Man, well said, bro.
Yeah,
very well
said.
That. Yeah. Hold on one sec. Sorry. All right. So yeah, I wanted to get to the. I know you wanted to highlight on this. We're getting towards the climax here, right? And his final fight with Bullseye. This is still Maleev on art. Like what else what more can you ask for from an opening splash of an issue right here, dude? This is fucking fantastic.
This had to be around the time when or a few years after Affleck Daredevil movie, right? Because this is like screaming Colin Farrell to me. In a good way.
It totally
it's
was.
Always in a good way. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Every one of those playing cards is deadly. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just love the back and forth here. You know, Elektra's taking on Bullseye. Matt gets separated from her. Is trying frantically to get back to her. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Did Bendis start on Daredevil in 03 or 02?
It was 01, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Was it 01? Oh shit.
Yeah.
I think it was 01 because I hadn't even graduated high school yet. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 01, I believe. Yeah, but he kicks some girl off the roof. He's like, "Yo, I know you think you're super powered, but I don't need you." He kicks her off the roof into a dumpster. It's like, bro, there's better ways of saying like no thank you, but I guess. Anyway, he tells like
tossed a baby off a roof though. Let's be honest. This is
true. Very true. Yeah, but he tells Natasha like he's got to go fight this on his own, and then like he kind of joins up here with Elektra at just the right time, and they kind of take him on together. And it's pretty righteous, man. Maleev doesn't miss a beat. You know, and Daredevil takes him out. Of course, there's like the whole like, should we take him out all the way type deal. You know, and dilemma. I love that bottom left panel, him with his like fist cock. I just think that's just so good. That's some original art I would love right there. That page is just so fire. Dude, that would be an original art page worth spending money. Yeah, like every panel is worth all the bucks. You know what I mean? Like, you even got like you said, like you got Kirby Crackle on the top. Like, what more do you want? But yeah. So we get to the climax of the issue. Does he get away or no? Yeah, he gets. I guess he gets pushed out of the way of the moving bus. Elektra goes to stab him with the sai. Daredevil stops her, and then he gets shot, and that's how the issue ends. It's shocking as hell because we finally get our defeat of Bullseye, but then Matt Murdock is laid low once again. And of course we get the shot from the helicopter. It was this Who was it on the helicopter that took the shot?
Pa-
I forget.
The Paladin or Paladin or some shit, I
Yeah,
think is his
okay.
name
Paladin,
is.
yeah, good call. And he was far enough away that he couldn't pick up on the acoustics or like the sonar of the shot or whatever. And meanwhile, Ben Urich,
Wow.
like I love how they intersperse it with like Ben Urich, like the Ben Urich's reaction and all, like kind of just finding out everything that's going on. This was a brilliant kind of climax to the climax type issue. But yeah, anything you want to say about this one? This is the one you wanted to bring up, so I'm gonna let you.
It's serendipitous, right? Because this is the tail end. It's not the final issue, but it's like it's leading up to the climax of Bendis's run. And the only reason that it's playing out the way it does is because Quesada made a promise to Kevin Smith to say, "Hey, next time Bullseye comes back, he's yours. You get to tell that story." Because Bendis was he was on it. He wanted to pull Bullseye into the game way earlier, and he wanted to do that. And Quesada's like, I can't do that. I made a promise. I can't break that promise. But then if you know about the infamy of what was it, Daredevil the Target, the miniseries where he was supposed to be reintroduced, that lasted all of one issue and never actually finished. Kevin Smith couldn't come through on that side of the promise, and finally Bendis was able to tell the story that he wanted to and kind of bring that stuff all together.
Hold on, so he held up for Kevin Smith, and then Kevin Smith only delivered one issue of a mini.
Yep.
Bro,
I think it was a promise made in bad faith, though. Like Quesada wanted him to do it, not so much Kevin Smith wanted to do it.
Oh.
He did a Spider-Man series with the Dotsons, and even that was, I remember that was super late. It was like Spider-Man Black Cat or some the Evil Man Do.
Yes, exactly.
It took like I remember I got the first issue. I think it came out like the month I started high school, or like the August or September, the first couple months of like 2002. And I knew who Kevin Smith was. I always loved the Dotsons on art, and like it just never came, bro. Like I think he finished it, but for the longest time, like I only had issue 1 because he was just, I don't know. Has Kevin Smith ever done a comic book on time, even his DC stuff? Like,
no, I was gonna say you had your graduate's degree at the time that that series probably was finished up. I mean, it takes forever.
Yeah, I love that story of like his first issue with like Daredevil. Like it was like 2 paragraphs, and like he gave it to Quesada, and Quesada's like, "All right, cool." And like he got 22 pages or something out of it. Like it just made it work. Like, and then it was like way too wordy afterwards. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, I love. Yeah, but yeah, man, great issue great run to highlight. Definitely one like worth owning in a collected form and revisiting. Oh yeah. All right.
man, my bad.
No, go
I'm
ahead.
just gonna start. I saw her about editorial, and it's just like so true. It's like that's one of the key factors in the early 2000s. You'll notice that editorial wasn't too hands-on, bro. They kind of like writers and creators had free reign to do whatever. Like, that's how we got New Avengers. How we got New X-Men, Astonish, like all these great books.
Daredevil's always been in that sweet spot where he's not like mainstream enough to like where they're super worried about him, but he's like, you know what I mean? But like he's still big enough that like top talent is attracted to him and wants to write stories about it. Like he's in that great sweet spot, I feel like. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, it's very true. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Herb. All right. So all right, so real quick, thought we give our flowers for this evening. Anybody got any flowers they want to give? Flowers? Lynk flowers?
Lynk, I'll let you jump out there, man. I got one.
You go first. No, you can go.
All right. I'm going to talk about the dude that we've already talked about a little bit, but it was kind of like a revelation that I didn't even think about until early we were kind of preparing for this show. But David Mack. So David Mack, we talked a lot about his art, but when he came on to Daredevil, he came on as a writer, not an artist first, right? So he wrote a little mini arc before Bob Gale and then Brian Michael Bendis. But Brian Michael Bendis and him were homies back in the day. Well, I mean, still are, but right. But they were friends before people knew who they were. And David Mack is the dude that petitioned Quesada to pull him in. He's like, you got to read Jinx. You got to read Torso. You got to look at this guy's stuff.
Oh, shit.
Because he's a super talented guy. He's going to bring the tone to this book that you need. He's going to bring, all of these things to the new Marvel that you're trying to create. Without David Mack, we wouldn't have Bendis at Marvel. Without Bendis at Marvel, we wouldn't have a decade of what has defined the Marvel universe and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So for that reason, David Mack, you deserve your flowers, bro.
Yay.
That's what I was gonna
Great
go with.
job.
I just decided to be kind and let ego first, but I'm just kidding. That's all flowers to Mac, bro. That's very true.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, Link, you got flowers you want to give, bro? If not, it's all good.
To Joe Quesada for listening to David Mack and taking him up on his advice.
Yeah. Shout out to Victor. Hey, always making a way, Joey Q. All right, I want to shout out. Hold on, let me shout out. I can blow myself up here. I want to shout out my daughter, the incredible artist for this Doom sketch that I commissioned from her. Super talented. Bubs, keep going. Don't stop. I love you. You're brilliant.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's what I wanted. Yeah, that's what I wanted to shout out. So yeah, shout out to her. Let me get you guys back here. Okay. All right. So on to our last segment of the evening. Yeah. Guess My Government, where we try to identify comic book character based on their given government/civilian identity. Thank you, Chio. It is amazing. So said David Mack's always been working the comic since I was a kid. Totally deserves it. Hell yeah.
He's the nicest dude in the world if you get to meet him, by the way.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. It's always so good when they're like the best people, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it sucks when you meet your heroes and it's just not that. It's not what you wanted it to be. So shout out to all those great meetings at cons. All right, so Guess My Government. I think we're gonna get a good one tonight, guys. I won't give any hints yet. But yeah, we were stumped last week. All right. Let me put this out there though, because I was doing the Daredevil research. So last week's Guess My Government was Buster Poindexter. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, Bullseye.
But I saw him called Lester in the comic books. So he has two aliases?
He's a little bit like the Joker, right? Like everything's a little bit ambiguous and
shrouded.
Okay. All right, fair enough. I felt like I did a poor job. Anyway, this one's pretty solid. And it has a history in the past and the present. Sergeant Willie Walker is our Guess My Government tonight. So I'm gonna give time to the chat, time to my fellows here on the panel. See what we got. See what we can come up with for Sergeant Willie Walker before I give any hints.
U.S. agent. I don't. Someone on the Fury command, the Commando of Furies or whatever.
No, I'll go ahead and say this right now. Like the Army title is a misnomer. That's kind of more or less. Well, actually, no, it's not irrelevant, but it's not. I don't know. I think I messed up. Never mind. Just disregard what I said. I'll give you a.
Is there a lifeline?
So he's in the DC universe. I'll put it that way.
Oh, I'm dead in the water. Never mind.
Yo, I was totally in the Marvel universe, bro.
I was straight up as a super pro.
He's in the DC universe, and he's been in. He's a product of a legendary creator, but he's also been in stories, in the new and modern canon.
Sorry.
Oh man! Anybody in the chat got anything? Of course, Fable, we appreciate your honesty. All right, Sergeant Willie Walker is the Black Racer.
Never, ever would I.
Who? The Black Racer, dude, if you read Final Crisis, you know who the Black Racer is. Willie Walker was a Vietnam vet, but he's a Jack Kirby creation. So he's originally a Vietnam vet, paralyzed in the war. He was contacted by the Source, like in a moment where he thought he was going to lose his life. When he was back home, death kind of like appeared to him, saw him worthy, and appointed him to this kind of like responsibility. So he took on this role as the racer. He kind of collects the souls of the new gods. It's wild as shit because he's got like he's got skis. Like he's I love my man Kirby, but this one was wild as shit. The newer redesign with Grant Morrison and Final Crisis is how I knew him. This is I think this is the end of issue 1. This was such a great panel. I'll never forget this, with Flash running through and the God Bullet. He's trying to stop the God Bullet, and Black Racer's right on his ass. I just like there's a good. I just bought the Final Crisis. I'm a Final Crisis head. I love that series. I love the covers. I love J.G. Jones. I love Grant Morrison. But there's a great sketchbook that has like them going through their Grant Morrison and J.G. Jones going through their redesign of this character and how they wanted to be heavy on the Black Knight armor, but also have the scythe, representing death, and like he's supposed to be the totality. He's supposed to represent the totality of death, like the fact that you can't escape it. Like that's ultimately what he's supposed to represent for the DC universe. But Jeff Johns also took a liking to him, and he's got a significant part to play. And I think the Flashpoint Paradox or a couple of Jeff Johns stories. So Sergeant Willie Walker. We got 2 stumpers though. I'm
so disappointed.
I mean, I'm not gonna do
this one.
I'm not gonna do Carol Danvers out here. You know what I mean? I wanted it to be tough, so I'm glad we're 2 for 2.
Dude, if you throw like these goth ski boys out there, I'm not gonna know who they are. I'm just gonna
ski boys. Get the fuck out of here.
Sergeant Walker.
Shout out Black Racer, bro. He's awesome. Shout out
I didn't know he was actually black until just now, bro. I thought that was just he was in the black armor, the Black Knight, but he's actually a black dude underneath that. I was not aware of that.
He's also like, he's also had many mortal coils. Like, Willie Walker has not been. Okay. That was like his most famous iteration, but he's also like he has to inhabit a physical form. So all that nonsense too. So, yeah. Man. All right. Man. So yeah, that concludes our show. Let's get to the PCB schedule this week. Of course, my boy Lynk, or not my boy Lynk, my boy Nick has already dropped the comic look ahead. Nick, I'm sorry I couldn't join you on Sunday, man. I wanted to be there, but work pulled me in. And the room tour, if you haven't seen his room, it's a complete piece of shit, guys. Like, it's just unorganized. It's a mess. There's shit everywhere. It's not lit very well. There's a very like low assortment of cool things. So I guess if you're into that like whatever type of thing, then check out. I'm just kidding. Nick's room was ridiculous,
right?
Nick's in the back chat like, I'm not happy with it. I need to, it's like, motherfucker. If I showed you the other side of this room right now, y'all would be like, yo, is Stu okay? Like we
comic books.
Yeah. We need to check on Stu, man. Anyway, yeah, y'all check out Nick. Always doing big things. Y'all check him out. My man Herm tomorrow night is next up. We got 6 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, nice.
We're unboxing, the Dismay Comics Tales from Town City #1. Dismay, huge friend of PCP, been on Blame Fable, doing big things independently. So if y'all haven't followed Dismay at Dismay Comics, go check him out, support him. A great independent artist and creator. Of course, Verno is wrapping up Zombie Fest Thursday night. Link, are you on this one, brother?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes,
wrapping up with the sadness. Wrapping up Zombie Fest Thursday night, 9:00 Eastern. Dude, it's been such a blast being on these shows with Vern. This month I got to rewatch 28 Days Later. Link, thank you for that. That was a treat. And also like Return of the Living Dead, watching that for the first time and I can't remember how long, and watching Fulci Zombie. It was just it was a great month of film discovery and revisiting for me. So shout out to everybody involved with that. Of course, this Friday at its new home in time, 9 p.m. Eastern, Playing Fable and His Amazing Friends, we got our guest Jedi Night with your boy Stu, the new co-host, and then Nick, of course, if he decides to show up for work. We'll see. But I can't wait for this one. Hell yeah. Yeah. Other than that, station, y'all make sure you be excellent to each other. Just remember, the difference starts in how we treat one another on an everyday microscopic level. So take that extra time to be patient, be nice, not tailgate, not be a dick on the roads, not be a dick in the grocery lines. Just take a minute, man. We're all going through it. But yeah, Eric, thank you for joining me, bro. Thank you for bringing that Daredevil knowledge. Really appreciate you coming through this week. Anything you want to say to people before we get out of here?
No, just appreciate you guys having me. It's always a joy talking with you guys about anything, but especially my boy Daredevil. I could do this for hours and hours. So yeah, thank you guys for the time. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, Lynk, my brother. How about you, man? You want anything you want to say before we jump out?
All right. Thank you guys for coming. If you're watching this on the replay, appreciate it. Thank you guys for the conversation.
Oh yeah. As always, y'all be safe, be easy out there. Shut up. I will tell you what to do. You tell me what to do. Yeah, but anyway, y'all make sure you check out everything. We got you covered Wednesday. We got you covered Thursday. We got you covered Friday. We probably got you covered Saturday and Sunday. The PCB Army don't quit. We're here for all your pop culture, comic book needs. Y'all check us out. We're just a great group of awesome dudes talking comic books, talking the shit we love, having fun doing it. So appreciate y'all joining us. We will see you next Tuesday at 9. For all my brothers here, peace, y'all.